Does Matt Nagy taking over play calling help or hurt the Chicago Bears? Let's talk about it starting now. If you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page because we do talk Chicago sports weekly. We don't want you to miss the things, so make sure that you hit that bell. Now, Matt Nagy in a press conference this weekend basically said he wanted to get ahead of things before anybody even asked him, and came out and said he is going to be taking over the play calling because he knew people were going to ask him about that all throughout the season. Reporters were going to ask him all throughout the season about the play calling, and so he said, I want to get ahead of it. I am taking over the play calling. My question to you, my question to the Breeze family, to the newcomers to the Breeze family, hit that like button, subscribe to the page if you want to join the Breeze family, is, does this help or hurt the Bears? And to me, again, as always with my videos, you got to look at a couple of things. On the one hand, it seems very weird, right? I mean, Andy Dalton coming in, he's your new quarterback. You know, Bill Lazor has worked with Andy Dalton. And when they were together in Cincinnati, I mean, Andy Dalton had a pretty freaking good year. 64% completion percentage, threw for 3,400 yards, 31 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Efficient and effective, as Field Yates called it back in 2018. And so it wouldn't make sense to take Bill Lazor away from Andy Dalton when you know that this guy has worked well with Andy. But again, we have to remember, very different Andy Dalton. I like the dynamic, or more so the storyline of them coming back together, right? Look, we're getting Bill Lazor, we're getting Andy Dalton back together. These guys have already had success. Let's put them out there. Let's see what they can do. But very different teams, very different offenses. But the one thing that I can say about both teams is, especially in the place that they're in, very similar protections. I mean, that 2018 Bengals offensive line was probably a little bit further along, a little bit better than where the Bears are right now, but not by much. Not by much. Still had their own struggles, and so Lazor being able to navigate that's a feather in his cap. And Lazor seemingly being able to navigate the second half of the season, albeit against some subpar teams, but the second half of the season nonetheless, where that offensive unit kind of came together, where that offensive line came together. You would think that it would make perfect sense to put this all in Bill Lazor's hands, right? You would think that just schematically, you're bringing this together. You love the story. You love that you're getting these pieces back together. This all makes sense. Why would you take this play calling away from Bill Lazor? This is his moment to shine. But of course, this is Matt Nagy we're talking about, right? This is Matt Nagy. Matt's gotta be the guy. He wants to be the guy. And I can't say that I don't like that. I like that Matt Nagy wants to be the play caller that this team hired. I like that he wants to be better. I'll never fault somebody for wanting to improve, but is it at the detriment of your team? Is it at the detriment of your team? Is that the point that we're at right now? Now, before I continue with the video, I want to know you guys' opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Do you think that Matt Nagy taking over the play calling for the Chicago Bears will help or hurt the Bears? I'll be down there talking with you as well. To me, the other thing we have to think about as well is we don't really know when Matt took the play calling back last season, right? We don't really have an answer on when did Matt Nagy take back the offensive play calling last season, because we knew at a certain point we were like, nah, these plays looking a little bit Nagy-ish. These plays are looking real Nagy, but they were still winning. They were still scoring touchdowns. They were still doing what they had to do to get the game going. The running game was still going. They were still using David Montgomery heavy, but there were just certain moments in the game where you would be like, this seems a little Nagy. This seems a little Nagy. So we don't know at what point Matt Nagy took back over last season, because in a couple of press conferences after the games, it was like, who's calling the plays? Bill's calling the plays. And then they asked Bill, and Bill's like, you got to ask Matt. I'm like, wait a minute, huh? What did we just hear? I believe in a postseason interview with Allen Robinson, it was said that A-Rob came out and he was just like, I don't really know, who was calling the plays. It was kind of a collection of things. Like, nobody's ever said that. No player has ever said, I don't know who's calling the plays. And so when did Matt Nagy take back over the play calling last season? That's kind of the question you have to ask. And was it tied to the Chicago Bears' success? Was it tied to something that the Bears were doing well? And listen, I'm the kind of person that if you shown me you've grown, I will believe you, but you have to continuously show me that you've changed your ways, that you've grown from that. And so was that the Matt Nagy we saw last season, and can he bring that into this season? Because the things you're going to need to do with Andy Dalton, most importantly, is run the ball. And I think that they've done a good job trying to shore up that running back room so that it's not just David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen. You can have a couple more legit, not to say Tariq's not a running back, but I do nothing but run the ball when you can use Tariq more out wide. You can use Tariq as a gadget guy. You can use Tariq in the slot. You know, he has so many uses on the field. And so to me, you've shored up that running room. Is Matt going to continue to use that? And if the Matt Nagy that we saw at the end of the season last season, that was willing to run the ball, that was willing to do more of the things that we've been asking for the entire time, is the Matt Nagy we get at the beginning of the season, then it could help the Bears. Because I think with a solid running game, if you can protect Andy Dalton, it all begins with protection. My biggest problem with the Bears is you let some of your defensive pieces go, but you still haven't solidified your protection of the quarterback. If you can protect Andy Dalton, then absolutely, I think that Matt Nagy calling plays, if he calls them like we were seeing at the end of the season last season, and again, albeit against subpar teams, but you've made a focus, you made an effort to run the ball. And that's what you're going to have to do here with Andy Dalton. Your line's going to have to improve, which you didn't improve that, so we'll see how that all works out. But as a dynamic, if he does that, then yes, it could help the Chicago Bears, because with a run game and Andy Dalton being accurate, as long as he's given time, I think that Andy's not going to be as bad of a signing as we've all made it out to seem. And I'm a part of that. I don't like the signing. But you know what? When the season starts, Andy Dalton can throw the ball. And for the most part, he can hit people in the hands. That's the thing that we've asked for. He's not going to throw you the 50-yard deep one where you're going to get somebody up underneath. He's not that guy anymore. He's just not that guy anymore. But he's going to be able to find A-Rob. He's going to be able to find Komet if you can protect him and if you can run the ball. So with that being said, I would probably have rather seen the dynamic of Laser and Andy Dalton come back together, just because they've got that relationship already. There's nothing to build there. But could I see Matt Nagy play calling helping if indeed he was the one calling plays at the end of last season? I could see it helping, because I think the one thing that Matt Nagy's system was missing was, at a minimum, somebody who could make the right read and complete that with time. Now, this is all predicated, again, on the offensive line, which you haven't fixed. Don't think this is a video where I'm coming here and I'm saying the Bears are going to do great next year because they got Andy Dalton hit. No. With time. Nick Foles could have been better with time. Mitch Trubisky could have been better with time. You still haven't fixed the main part that protects the most important piece on your field. And if you don't get that together, I don't really know what you're going to do this season. But as always, I want to know how you guys feel. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you think that Matt Nagy taking over play calling for the Chicago Bears will help or hurt? I'll be down there talking with you in the comments as well. As always, it is your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. To continue watching our Chicago Bears content, click the links here or check the links in the description below. Peace.